Tomorrow is a pretty big day. It is day one of being a business owner, owning a manufacturing company. Over the last week, where I've been off work, no longer employed, I've had a lot of opportunity to kind of reflect on how I got here. It's been several months in the making, actually, probably 6 or 7 months really, from the first point I started even looking around at businesses and opportunities to buy something. And yeah, there's a few questions that are front of mind, and maybe will help people if I go through and just answer them. So one of the big ones, anyone that knows me, is I'm a designer. Why am I buying a manufacturing company? 3D printing is my thing. So the process of designing and then manufacturing or 3D printing things has always gone hand in hand. That's really a big part of what I do and what I enjoy. So actually owning a manufacturing business makes a lot of sense because it allows me to do the exact same thing, design things, make them, and then hand them over to customers. I've really learnt to appreciate a lot Australian manufacturing. One of my previous jobs was working in an Australian manufacturing company where if I opened the door from where I sat at my computer, there are a couple of carbon fiber catamarans being built. And when I did a good job, the guys on the floor would high five me, and when I, stuffed up a drawing or got something wrong in the design, you also heard about it, and that was a really great way to learn and just build your experience as a designer. So for me, design and manufacturing hand in hand. I guess that then goes to why not just design your own product or start your own design consultancy. I haven't really worked in too many design consultancies. I did start in one when I first graduated from uni, and that was great to get involved in many different design projects, but they were always handed over at some point, and then you lose control of that. You're not involved in the manufacturing. I just haven't really gone through that pathway of working through design consultancies and working my way up. Again, if you followed me, you've probably seen that over the years I have done Kickstarters. I've started several little side projects and brands, but I lose interest so easily in things like that. Designing a product and committing so much money and time and effort to one thing, it just doesn't really fit with how my brain works. So plastic fabrication might seem pretty boring, particularly to designers. Like, I'm not creating, I don't know, the next BMW car or something complex. And that's exactly the point. I think as AI is coming in, I can really see that the jobs that I've always done, sort of more around project management, a lot of that already can be done by AI. So for me, getting into something that might be boring, um, more aligned with being a plumber or a sparky or something like that, I can actually see that longer term at the moment almost a guaranteed pathway where my job's not going to become redundant. The products we make might not be particularly exciting and game changing, but they're core to almost every business. You think of any other manufacturing business, any product, whether it's a caravan or a boat or a signage company or a retail shop that needs signage or displays in their shop or an art gallery with exhibition spaces, they all need simple CNC cut, bent, assembled bits of plastic for display boxes and signs and just about anything. As soon as you start looking around, there is plastic everywhere. I think that boring job is actually going to be quite exciting, fast paced, and not under threat from AI or other sorts of influences that might come over the coming year. One other question I've been thinking about, I spent even now, I spent over 10 years either working directly in universities or having an adjunct role with a university. So why not just become a university professor? I went through, did my PhD, spent a lot of time teaching and working full time, had a couple of postdoc positions in a couple of Australian universities. They were all fantastic, but when I started, research was fun. It was a big part of being an academic. But over the last at least 5 or 6 years, I've seen so many of my friends and people I work with be kind of shoved away from research into almost full-time teaching roles. That's not really for me. Teaching's fun, but research and developing new technologies and pushing the limits, that's where I find the most value. So that's really not been a pathway. And the other thing that's really bothered me about university life is just the constant push to bring in money. You're basically a salesperson at a university, that you're constantly out there pitching to people, trying to bring in money. Just as you get one lot of funding, you've got to start applying for another lot. So, no offense to anyone that's doing it. I really respect anyone that's in the uni system and achieving those things, but not a pathway for me. If I'm going to be out selling things, I may as well be making good money off it, selling my products and selling my brand. So hopefully that gives a little bit of an insight into some of my thoughts and how I've gone from being a designer, a project manager, into now owning a manufacturing facility here on the Sunshine Coast. Really looking forward to it. Tomorrow's going to be massive. The next week, the next month, the next 6 months, going to be huge. Follow along, and I'll try and provide updates